Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Tears here, and welcome back to another movie review. And since I did a review on Infinity War for its fifth anniversary, I decided to review this one as well because this one would definitely deserve a review. And that is my review on Avengers Endgame. So, Avengers Endgame is the fourth Avengers film, and came out in the year 2019, aka the greatest year ever. Let's see 2025 can top it. And is directed once again by Anthony and Joe Russo. Them and James Gunn are both neck and neck as the greatest comic book movie director. I'm not sure who to pick, but we'll see. And it stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Don Cheadle, Paul Rudd, Benedict Cumberbatch, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, Brie Larson, Tom Holland, Karen Gillan, Zoe Saldana, Evangeline Lilly, Tessa Thompson, Elizabeth Olsen, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Tom Hiddleston, Benedict Wong, Bong Clement Eve, Dave Bautista, Letitia Wright, and so many more. Yeah, I mean, I can go on and on and on. I mean, but I can end there. Yeah, this movie has endless, like hundreds of big name stars, and I don't want to name all of them. So basically, the plot for Avengers Endgame, it tells a story about these group of heroes who are coping for the loss of half of the character who were snapped out of existence after the Thanos snap, and then they were able to track down Thanos and defeat him. While this variant of Thanos, but 5 years later, they realized that killing Thanos doesn't that change at all. That it isn't helping us. These characters are still coping for the loss of the people who were snapped out of existence, and they were there, and they've all moved on with their lives. Tony Stark now has a daughter, and then yeah, and some of the characters who were there just moved away to do other things. But then as Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, came out of the quantum realm, he gives this idea to on how they could bring them back, because that's what they've been thinking of for 5 years, to bring everyone back. Yeah, so their idea is that they're gonna go back in time to collect to collect the Infinity Stones, like as a heist, to be able to reverse the snap, and to bring everyone back. Meanwhile, while they're all like back in time, they do like cause a lot of cause a lot of things in the multiverse. Like a lot of like really crazy stuff, and eventually there goes 2014 Thanos, the 2014 variant of Thanos, who finds out that who finds out about the about the quote unquote future characters in the future, well, so called, trying to undo something his Thanos' future self did. So 2014 Thanos comes to the future, and to start a huge war that ends up with one of the biggest climaxes ever put the film. I think probably, yeah, one of the biggest. So yeah, I think you all know how truly special Endgame is. As Infinity War, has this, as Infinity War might be something special, since it is the 10th anniversary of Marvel. 10th anniversary of Marvel. Avengers Endgame is meant to be the true finale of everything that's meant to be from the story. Yeah, the true finale of the and of the beloved Infinity Saga. Yeah, Infinity War was just the start of it all. And I'm sure you all know how Infinity War ended. Thanos won with a snap of the fingers, and that was probably the boldest decision I've ever put to film. Period. And so yeah, I think and not only was this a very smart move to make the villain win, but we actually have no idea what to expect from Endgame, and thankfully, until this movie came out, we all got to see this full. we knew nothing about what was going to happen. Yeah, how are they going to bring everyone back? How are they going to win against Thanos? That's exactly why I think Endgame has probably some of the best marketing ever. I mean, you have no idea why. You have no idea what's gonna happen. Like, not a single trailer was able to reveal major plot points about the story. So it still left a mystery of what's gonna happen. Like, yes, there was one TV spot where they showed the Thanos in it, but we didn't know that that was the 2014 version of Thanos, and they would kill off the present Thanos in the beginning. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And yeah, this movie was definitely hype. Even before Avengers Infinity War came out, people were telling me saying, "Oh, I think Avengers 4 could be better." I was like, I wonder how. But yeah, now I get how, because this is the conclusion. So Marvel should really give it an all. And yeah, unsurprisingly, this was my most anticipated movie of 2019. I mean, was there any question? And even though I kind of felt a little more hype for Endgame, because now I know what it feels like to watch these special events. Yeah, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame are not movies. They are special events. They're more special events of a once in a lifetime opportunity, or maybe to see one of these in theaters. Unless if you wanna go rewatch it again. Rewatch it again. Well, why not? And yeah, so yeah, I mean, when I first saw Endgame in theaters, yeah, this was actually my favorite movie of all time. Yeah, since I was a huge Marvel fanboy, and I wasn't even excited for Frozen 2 at the time. Well, I was actually excited for Frozen 2 because of the trailer. But yeah, now Frozen 2 is my favorite movie of all time. But yeah, but I still love Endgame either way, and I can't believe how divisive this movie is now. Yes, there are still some people who love this movie, who really adore it, and maybe even put it as one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. But then there are people who say that this movie is overrated. I mean, they say like, oh, it's too slow, it's too long, it's too slow, and there's a lack of action scenes. There's a lack of action scenes, and this story is nonsensical. And they say like, oh, people only like this movie just because of the final battle. Like, kind of similar to how people, like, some people call Up overrated, and they all say that they love the movie just because of the opening. Yeah, I know Endgame and Up have nothing in common, but I mean, yeah, I mean, but usually like the most praised part would be like a certain scene, like, it may seem like people would love a movie because of that one scene, even if it's not really a valid excuse. I love Up for everything, even though the opening scene was the best part. Maybe I review Up in the future, but not right now. Let's talk about Endgame. Yeah. So yeah, after rewatching Endgame last night, does it hold up? Absolutely. Yeah, Endgame is a perfect movie. This movie is one of the greatest conclusions I've ever put to film. Period. Is this good as Infinity War? Sadly, no. I don't think it's better than Infinity War. But yeah, I will say it is at least just as good. I already explained my reason why I prefer Infinity War, mainly because it's more action packed, it's more entertaining. And the movie feels less predictable, because in this one you already know that the heroes will win Thanos. We just don't know how exactly, but Endgame is still a masterpiece either way, and this is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, undoubtedly. And this is my second favorite movie of 2019, second only behind, of course, Frozen 2, the best movie ever. But yeah, and it's not just the final battle that makes the movie great. I mean, there is everything about this. Everything about this movie just works so well, and it really sucks to see this movie like getting review bombed. I remember at some point this was the highest grossing movie of all time, until like 2 years later when Avatar got re-released and took its throne back as the highest grossing. I wish Endgame stayed as the highest grossing movie of all time, but Avatar, I'm happy for Avatar, because Avatar is a masterpiece, and I will never understand the hate for Avatar. But yeah, everything about Endgame is just so like masterful. And yeah, and I'm gonna talk about everything else first that isn't the final battle. Yeah, this movie is really this movie is a lot darker than Infinity War, as we see, our heroes feeling depressed and yeah, yeah, as you see our heroes feeling depressed after losing to Thanos, and yeah, and they all like start new lives, and yeah, so we start off this movie with seeing Hawkeye. Yeah, I understand why Hawkeye was absent in Infinity War. Well, he said it's apparently because of his contract, but the thing is that Jeremy Renner was not in Mission Impossible Fallout, so I kind of don't understand why Hawkeye was not in it. I guess he was probably with his family, but yeah. But thankfully, we did the start off with Hawkeye as the prologue to make up for his absence in Infinity War. Yeah, that's probably my one nitpick with Mission Impossible Fallout, a movie that I'll probably review leading up to that record. Yeah, how is Jeremy Renner not in that film if he wasn't in Infinity War just for his Mission Impossible contract when he's not in Fallout? So that kind of doesn't make sense. But yeah, I'll talk more about that when I review Fallout this summer. But yeah, let's continue on with Endgame. Yeah, Hawkeye. Yeah, you probably know that I'm a defender of Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye is the most underrated member of the Avenger. He's certainly not the worst Avenger. I think Hulk is the weakest Avenger of the six main Avengers, but I still like him either way. Yeah, really like Hawkeye, and I love seeing how he's able to come out of retirement. As you all saw him as you saw Hawkeye's family get snapped out of existence. Yeah, I'm really happy for Hawkeye. I mean, he has probably one of the better arcs as he's really desperate to do this for his own family and be able to help others to help other people like come back as well. And yeah, I mean this, and I love that the whole Ronin Hawkeye thing. Ronin in Japan, that was probably my top 10 favorite scenes in the entire film. And yeah, I'm really happy for Hawkeye. I mean, he gets a better, he really gets a much better treatment in the MCU, and he even has he is his solo project turned out to be the best MCU project ever. But that's mainly because of Kate Bishop. But even though I love Hawkeye, did yeah, Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, yeah, yeah, I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. And every single character in this really has an incredible arc. Since there are fewer characters now, I mean, this movie really takes its time to develop each characters. And this movie absolutely nails character development. Character development. Like what I said earlier, Tony Stark is now with his family, and yeah, his I love Tony Stark's daughter, Morgan Stark. Yeah, she's just so charming, and especially when she says that iconic line, "I love you 3000." Yep, I love this movie 3000 because yeah, this movie gets a 3000% from me because it is truly what it is, a movie worth a rate, calling it I love calling it a 3000. And yeah, actually let me rephrase that. What I meant to say is this movie deserves to be loved on a scale of 3000, which was the case when people saw this movie in theaters. But yeah, really love that. And also we get Thor as well. Thor was the one who almost killed Thanos, but like Thanos like, no, you should have gone for the head. Yeah. And you really see Thor really depressed that he's the one that he let Thanos get away from get away with wiping everyone out of existence, and yeah, so I really feel bad for Thor. I think Thor gets far too much hate in this movie. Yeah, Thor gets far too much hate. Yeah. People say, oh, why is Thor drunk? Why did they turn Thor into a drunk and fat person with a beard? This is not Thor. Okay, here's the thing. Here's why Thor gets way too much. Here's why Thor is great in his movie. Because you see Thor at first, like being able to failing to stop Thanos, and he was like the one who he was the one who was closest to Thanos when Thanos snapped his finger, and he could have killed Thanos, so he's upset about this. But Thor couldn't really cope with it, so he just wanted to start a fresh new life and trying to forget about it. He's like, that's pretty much the thing with this movie. I mean, this movie Even if our characters still cope with the idea, they still move on. Like they still move on. Even though Captain America said that Captain America said that he doesn't want to move on. He still wants to find a way to bring these characters back. And and then but Thor is one of those people who moved on. He wanted to forget that Thanos ever existed, so he was just he just started life. And also Thor getting fat and drunk really like was a part of his depression. Usually depressed people would become addicted to something and it will become that. That's called the mental health issues. And Thor has started having mental health issues because he's addictive. And also we see him playing Fortnite with why they need to show Fortnite. Even though I hate Fortnite, I mean, yes, actually not. I think the bad. I'll admit the Fortnite scene was funny. Like New Master 69. Yeah, that was funny to a reference of Fortnite. And then um when Hulk told Thor about Thanos, he got mad at Hulk. He got mad at Hulk. And in that moment, we learned that Thor just wants to get out of the Thanos life, get out of his hero life, and just try his best to move on. At least Valkyrie is there. Valkyrie, aka the best Thor character ever. The best Thor character ever. I love Valkyrie and yeah. Speaking of Hulk, yeah. I mean, it's very interesting to see Hulk turning into you know him and Bruce Banner combined, where he's like all green, but he's still able to feel like Bruce Banner. I'm sure you know what I mean by that, as in combining both Bruce Banner and Hulk, and mashing into one. Yeah, that's a very interesting concept here. And of course, you got Black Widow, which I'll get to Black Widow later on in the film. But yeah, I love how they still use the blonde hair Black Widow. I wish they stick with that throughout Endgame, the blonde hair version, because I love that version of Black Widow, man. I love it. Yeah. And yeah, and then we get to an hour to the film, but with the time traveling stuff. Oh yeah, and Tony Stark and Captain America made amends. Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about the time travel aspect. Yeah, this is usually where people like complain about the movie because it's like, oh, it's too nostalgic. It's just nostalgia bait, and it's just blah 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 and all that stuff. But here's the thing. But yeah, actually, here's the thing about the time traveling stuff. It actually makes sense. People say it doesn't make sense, but it actually does make sense in the context of the film because they're trying to get the stone backs to snap. And I think going back in time is the right decision, not just because of nostalgia, but because they really needed it. So yeah, we got different places early on in the MCU, like New York in the first Avengers movie, um, Thor, Thor: The Dark World, like Asgard and Thor: The Dark World. Even though I hate Thor: The Dark World, I think it makes sense as to why they would use Thor: The Dark World as one of the past movies to be shown here because Thor: Dark World had one of the Infinity Stones, so it makes sense. Yeah. Any timeline that had the Infinity Stone, they would go to like Moraga, which had one of the Power Stones which had one of the stones as well, and then we see them and we also see the basic Captain America, the first Avenger, and we also get to see some familiar faces as well, like we see Howard Stark, and we see this really good chemistry between Tony Stark and the past Howard Stark, and then he refers to himself as Howard Potts. Yeah, that's probably the interesting about about these ones. It's where it's when they meet up with their past family members and yes, it's just so interesting. Some of them really suspect. Some of them knew that these characters would go back in time to go back. I mean, some of these characters knew that these characters going back in time are really from the future. But then you get someone like Howard Stark who wouldn't know that. So that Tony Stark would pretend to be someone else and yeah, there's this really special scene in the first Avenger military base where this woman who saw Tony Stark in Captain America unknowingly in the elevator really like told reported security guard that there are people who she thinks are intruders, and it's really suspenseful that and you really don't want these heroes to get caught. Yeah, that's the thing. That's one thing I love about this movie. You really root for the heroes to you're really rooting for these heroes to be able to succeed in their mission, to be able to stop Thanos. And yeah, and then we get to San, and then we get to I forgot the name of the place, but the one with the Soul Stone where Clint Barton and where Hawkeye and Black Widow are to get the Soul Stone, and then in that moment we get Black Widow's death. Widow's death scene. Wow, yeah, that was one of the more emotional scenes in the film. And you're lying if you say you cried. I mean, yes. When Hawkeye and Black Widow got to the Soul Stone area, you knew that someone was going to die. I know people say, "Oh, Hawkeye should have died." Well, no, Hawkeye should not have died. Well, I think Black Widow dying was the correct choice because Black Widow doesn't really have a real family. I think she's no longer with her family. Well, no, but she hasn't hasn't been with Yelena and but Black Widow dying was the right decision because of the Hawkeye show. Hawkeye if they killed off Hawkeye instead of Black Widow, we would have never gotten Haley Stifle in the MCU. We would have not never gotten Kate Bishop, my MCU hero, my favorite superhero of all time. Time with Gwen Stacy, and we never would have even gotten Yelena. Yelena's arc to go after Clint Barton. If Black Widow didn't die, yes, we still would have gotten a Black Widow movie and a Yelena movie. But even though Black Widow dies, at least we still got a Black Widow movie. And who cares if it's too late? The movie is still underrated. The movie is underrated. And yeah, Yelena is definitely one of the best MCU characters. But yeah, that was actually a really emotional death, and you really see Hawkeye's mental breakdown. And even in his own Hawkeye show, he still tries to cope with the death of Black Widow. And then we got Yelena. Hawkeye is all about coping with the death of Black Widow, and I really love that. And even the Black Widow post credit scene set that up, and it did it very well. Very well. And yeah, before I get to the third act, I'm gonna talk about other things first. What I love about this story is that it actually has a complete three act structure. And usually we don't see it in the movies nowadays. A lot of movies don't seem to follow the three act structure, but Endgame certainly does. The first act is the heroes are trying to move on while coping for the death of their loved ones who were snapped from existence. And then we got the second act, which is the time travel scenes. The time travel is a blast to go through. And then the third act, I'll get to in a bit, yeah. Now, before I get to the third act, I actually do have one nitpick, which is one of the things that makes me prefer Infinity War, and that is Cassie Lang. Yeah, I'm sorry, Emma Furman is an overrated Cassie Lang. Now I know that people say, oh yeah, we see a bunch of Emma Furman, and how do you know that she's not very good? Well, first of all, I just prefer Catherine Newton over Emma Furman. I mean, I don't hate Emma Furman. I don't want to hate on her because she only had one scene. She only had 2 seconds of being gaslighted, so we don't know much about her. But I feel like it's because of the looks. I mean, she looks a little too old for Cassie Lang, and I feel like she might not be able to have the charm of Cassie Lang. I was like, I have a feeling that if Emma Furman was remaining Cassie Lang in Quantumania, I feel like she wouldn't feel like Cassie Lang. She would have felt a little too serious. Like that's the thing I'm seeing with this version of Cassie Lang. She looks a little too serious for Cassie. Thank God that Marvel made the right decision to cast a much better actress as Cassie Lang. Catherine Newton's Cassie Lang feels a lot more charming, and she really does scream Cassie Lang, and you really feel like she is Cassie Lang. Emma Furman, I don't see that, but yeah, I know a lot of people are mad that she didn't get recasted. That she got recasted, and people really hate Catherine Newton's Cassie Lang in Quantumania just because of the Emma Furman recast. But come on, guys, Catherine Newton is the best casting. I don't care what anyone else says. But yeah, that's probably my one nitpick. It's certainly not a flaw because it's only 2 seconds, so I can definitely ignore that. And yeah, but yeah, this movie has such a great three act structure. And it is a pretty slow film, which is probably why Infinity War is better because I prefer a good old fast paced movie better. But I mean, Infinity War never bores. I mean, this movie is 3 hours long, and it doesn't really, and 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 it doesn't even feel like a 3 hour. It doesn't even feel like a 3 hour movie. It really flies that fast because despite it being slow and not having much action, yeah, this movie still is still a lot of fun. And if you think that and if you complain that this movie has a lack of action, well, to be fair, the Avengers one is also like that. The Avengers one also had a lack of action scenes. It was kind of slow, but I still love the first Avengers movie. So yeah, that's the thing. But then we get to the highlight of the film, without question, the best thing about the film, and that is no competition, the third act. One of the greatest third acts ever put to film, period. I mean, say what you want about the first two acts, but the third act is really where the film's strongest point is. In fact, no, not only that, but that is where the MCU's strongest points is. I mean, we got like so many like amazing MCU scenes, like the like having Toby Andrew and No Way Home, and so many like really good moments. But Endgame's final battle is unbeatable. Yeah, even not even Infinity War's battle is as good as it's as a grand in scale as Endgame's final battle. So the final battle starts off with the 2014 Thanos blowing up the Avengers headquarters, and then now becomes like ruin. It becomes turns into ruins, and then we see Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, all coming to 2014 Thanos and facing him like in such a really big battle. And man, this movie is full. The final battle is full of cheer-worthy moments after cheer-worthy moments after cheer-worthy moments, and really delivers fan service in the best way possible. I've never seen a movie have better fan service than this. Okay, oh yeah, No Way Home has a better fan service, but this one just screams of fan service. And yeah, the final battle is really electrifying. And there's so many things you can describe, but also Captain America lifting the hammer, actually getting the hammer, the Mjolnir, like wow, that really like went. I'm sure that really went people nuts. That really made people go nuts because no one would have expected that Captain America would get the hammer. I think most people forgot that in Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America almost lifted the hammer. He was so close to doing it, but he still couldn't do it because at the time he wasn't ready yet. But now in this movie, it really shows. I mean, that the moment in Age of Ultron where Captain America almost was able to lift the hammer, really paid off in this one. And yeah, that's the thing about this movie. Everything that the MCU has been setting up really pays off in this one climactic final battle of a movie, one climactic conclusion of a movie, and yeah, there's like, and yeah, now and then we get to the best scene in the film, the best of the best, and one of the single greatest scenes ever put to film. Period. The portal scene. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. It always started off with just the surviving Avengers fighting Thanos, but man, every single MCU character. I mean, every single one of them comes together through a portal in probably like one of the best pieces of music I've ever heard. Like seeing first you see those Sam Wilson saying calling Cap and saying on your left, and then he sees the portals coming out, and all the Avengers who turned into dust really came together to help them fight Thanos and his armies. I guess they don't know that this is a 2014 Thanos, but they so since they still think they're fighting present day Thanos, but yeah, I mean wow, like hundred like this feels like a millions of people, like every single MCU character coming together to fight the Thanos, and then like and then we all see Captain America being like Avengers assemble, and then we all see, running every single MCU character running through, running to towards Thanos and his army, and all like working together to stop Thanos and his armies, and then like I even talking about this movie, I'm already getting chills, man. I'm getting chills down my neck and spine. Talking about this one major event, and I cannot believe like and yeah, even every time I see the portal scene, I get chills and goosebumps all over my body because that truly is a moment in movie history. This movie is gonna be, this movie is gonna be a classic in the future. That portal scene is already an iconic scene, and we see like some great banters between characters, like in the middle of the fight, like we see, Tom Holland, explain that, I thought, and then woke up and Doctor Strange is like, oh, it's been 5 years, we need them, and then we see like Tony hugging Peter Parker, and then we also like some great banter between Peter Parker and others, as as he also meets Valkyrie, and then he sees, Captain Marvel, and yeah, by the way, this is Captain Marvel. This is what Captain Marvel should have been. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally gonna rant on that Captain Marvel movie. I'm sure you already know how I feel about that, but this is Captain Marvel right here. Seeing her flying through the ship and destroying the entire Thanos ship, and then helping Peter Parker with the Infinity Gauntlet. And she even almost defeated Thanos, but then she failed to. Because she failed to, but yeah, I'm glad Captain Marvel did not defeat Thanos. Otherwise, that would have been totally messed up. And then we get to probably a very controversial scene that I highly defend. The scene with all the MCU female heroes coming together to face Thanos, to face Thanos' army. Like, when Peter Parker was afraid of everyone, and then Captain Marvel was like, "Hey Peter Parker, you had something for me." Best Captain Marvel line ever, by the way. And then we see every single female heroes in the MCU coming together to working together to fight the armies in one scene. Yeah, that scene is very controversial, and I was like, people are like, "Oh, it's so cringe. That scene is woke and it's just promoting feminism." Well, that's so BS. Yeah, I can't believe people hate that scene in Endgame. I mean, come on, that just shows that people are just such women haters, and I'm really sick and tired of female character haters. It's really annoying nowadays. But yeah, but also like one of my favorite scenes about the final battle, in the final battle is when, Scarlet Witch come like, like, Scarlet Witch, who is probably my favorite of these Avengers. Scarlet Witch is actually my favorite of these Avengers, who are all the, yes, I mean, out of all the thousands of Avengers, since there's no Kate Bishop, no Yelena, yes, I mean, out of all the hundreds of Avengers members who were there, Scarlet Witch is my favorite of them all. Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot to Multiverse of Madness for making me a diehard Scarlet Witch fan. Yeah, Scarlet Witch really was really the angriest of them all, because he took Vision away from him. Even though Thanos doesn't know who Scarlet Witch is, yeah, Scarlet Witch literally almost killed Thanos. Yeah, he used she literally, trapped Thanos in a bunch of, stuffed rocks, I guess, and broken pieces from the headquarters, and almost killed him. But then Thanos asked them to quote unquote rain fire, as having the blasters and shoot everything, just to stop Scarlet Witch from stopping Thanos. I mean, literally, Thanos had to like tell his armies to shoot everything, and nearly kill everyone, just to stop Scarlet Witch. That is how powerful Scarlet Witch is. And Scarlet Witch is indeed the strongest Avenger. There, you cannot convince me otherwise. I hope we see more Scarlet Witch in the future. Although kind of a hot take, but I do prefer villain Scarlet Witch over hero Scarlet Witch, in my opinion, because Multiverse of Madness was where Scarlet Witch is at her best. And also we get we get this whole reference to Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where Peter found Gamora and like, I thought I lost you, and then Gamora hit Peter. Yeah, it's gonna take until Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 for Peter to understand that Gamora is that is old school Gamora, and that Gamora's really dead. Was really dead. Yeah, it's gonna take him to understand why this was pointing Gamora, and yeah, and then we get to that Tony Stark. Yeah, I'm almost done with it. Already on the way, but yeah, we get to that moment right there, the moment that the most historical moment in the MCU. I mean, actually, yes, the portals is the most historical moment in the MCU. But yeah, I don't know how to describe the scene, but yeah, that emotional scene. Yes, the scene that the fact that Tony Stark was the one who defeated Thanos. That's probably the thing people had, the question people had going to Endgame. Who is going to defeat Thanos? Some had speculation, but turns out it was Iron Man himself. His MC movie. Iron Man was the one who started the Avenger. Despite Captain America being the first Avenger, Iron Man is the one who. Iron Man's movie was the one who started the MCU. So it was the right decision to for Iron Man to be the one to defeat Thanos by snapping the Infinity Stones and dying. Man, and that is like probably the most emotionally resonating scenes ever put in the film. I said one of them. It was the most emotional scene ever, but James Bond's dead in no time to die dethroned, and man, one of the greatest endings ever put in the film. Period. Yeah, there were multiple endings, but every single ending paid off. Tony Stark's funeral, Thor joining the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Falcon and Bucky attempting to go back in time. I also hope going back in time to return the stones in their place. And then we got also Captain America's arc. Captain America's arc of being with Peggy Carter once again, going back in time to be with Peggy Carter, and yeah, and also the older Captain America passing the mantle to Falcon, saying, "My time is done. You're the new Captain America." Man, I mean, now people say that the entire MCU should have stopped with Endgame and Phase 4 did not need to exist. Well, I might have to make a separate video on that explaining as to why Phase 4 exists. But I will just say that this and the ending of Endgames really set up the future of the MCU. But yeah, there's a lot of explaining to do, but I can't really do it now. Go further because as of now as of this time I have to end this sooner because I have to do something. I have a meeting to go to, but yeah, I don't know when I'll eventually upload this, but yeah, I'll eventually get there. But yeah, right now I have a meeting to do. So yeah, so overall, Avengers Endgame is a perfect conclusion to the MCU. Is it as good as Infinity War? Oh heck no. No. Well, no. Okay, that's a little too far. I'm gonna say it's not better than Infinity War, but it is close. I would say this is my third favorite MCU movie, right behind Spider-Man: No Way Home and Infinity War. This is the perfect conclusion to the Infinity Saga, and building up towards the multiverse saga, and yeah, it truly is an emotionally resonating crowd pleaser of a movie, a finale that yeah, and yeah, so yeah. I totally love this movie 3000, and I will defend this movie till the day I die. It is not overrated. So yeah, with that said, I'm gonna give Avengers Endgame, of course, a 10 out of 10. So also for my review of Avengers Endgame, what is your opinion on this movie? Do you agree with me that Endgame is a Endgame is a perfect movie, or do you think that this movie is overrated, or is this your favorite movie of all time? Because I've heard people say this is their favorite movie, and I can totally see why. Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my rant on Peter Pan and Wendy. So yeah, bye guys.